Listen, there's been a lot of speculation, and I just want to address it head on, cold open. I am going to be the next head coach at Louisiana State University.
Happy Monday and welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show, of course, presented by Branded Bills. Make sure you head to brandedbills.com and use that code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by the cap man, the man always rocking a cap. That is Erik Ruby. We've got the deli man behind the Mac making all of the magic happen. Loved the tenacity on that order up from the deli man. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Seth in the chat, McKay, Rob, appreciate everybody stopping in on a Monday to talk about your Arizona State Sun Devils. Banshidi asking in the chat, right off rip for you, Rubus, how similar is the pay at PHNX versus head coach at LSU?
Oh, LSU can't even match. They can't contain it. You know.
Yeah. So why are you going to LSU then?
That's for the love of the game.
Just for the love of the game. That's what I
mean,
they
were begging. Oh my gosh, you should have seen the texts and the calls that I was getting all night. Please, please be our next head coach, please. And I was like,
and at the end of the day, you're like, you know what? I'll do some charity work for the Louisiana Tigers.
Maybe I'll like freelance as their head coach. I'll drop in on weekends. I'll coach the game. I'll like Zoom or FaceTime into practice. Real leadership stuff.
Love it, man. Love it. Look, before we get too deep into the conversation about Arizona State's matchup against Iowa State, about some of the comments that Kenny Dillingham said at his Monday press conference, of course, we got to start off with some news that dropped just yesterday relating to Arizona State assistant head coach and special teams coordinator Charlie Ragle. Chris Karpman of Sun Devils Source first broke the news Sunday evening, saying that Charlie Ragle will take an immediate health-related leave of absence. Jack Nudo is expected to take over special teams. Still TBD on, of course, the length of time that Charlie Ragle is going to be without the team. Dilly did say on Monday, whether it's a week, 2 weeks, a month, a year, that there would be a conversation if and when Ragle is ready to have that conversation. And I think it's also important to note that Ragle wasn't asked to take a leave of absence. This was more so him coming to Kenny Dillingham and making this personal health decision. Of course, we wish Charlie Ragle the absolute best. Health obviously comes first in any circumstance. Just the timing of the situation feels just kind of a little awkward all the way around, I think, for everybody trying to digest this information, Rubus.
Yeah, I think awkward on the timing, but the response to it shouldn't be awkward, and the response to it should be exactly what you just said, which is that we wish Charlie Ragle the best. For those who are putting on their tinfoil hat and their conspiracy, stop. Just stop. Like, this is real life stuff. This is somebody's health, and what I think people either forget or kind of ignore some of the humanity of this situation is, I understand that special teams has not been up to par this season. That is a truth, and we could put that in a separate bucket. Charlie Ragle is as invested in Arizona State's success overall as a whole, as a program, as much as anybody in the entire world. Charlie Ragle is somebody who deeply cares about the state of Arizona, deeply cares about the sport of football in Arizona, and deeply cares about what's going on in Tempe. It has to be heartbreaking and gut-wrenching for him to walk away, at least for an indefinite amount of time, from this program, right? Not just a special teams coach, associate head coach as well. Like, this guy had a lot to do with things that were going right at Arizona State. And obviously, a lot of people will look at the special teams part of his label and just kind of stop it at that. But there is no ASU and where we are today, which is sitting with these high expectations without the influence of Charlie Ragle. So there are people who have been going out there and saying things that aren't just, hey, we hope the best for him. And to those people, I kindly recommend you to F off and just take a second and think humanely about this whole situation.
Yeah, Kenny, I mean, you could tell him keeping it together today, but this is obviously a decision from Charlie that is going to have a larger impact on Dillingham, on the Arizona State football program than I think many, anticipate or expect, larger than just special teams. I believe his office was either right next to Kenny Dillingham's or right down the hall. These are two individuals that are, they have spent such a long period of time together with Ragle, inspiring and kind of pushing Kenny to further his aspiration to coach, going back to when Dilly was like in high school, right, or the college level to do these things. And Ragle was somebody that has had an instrumental part in Arizona State getting back to national relevance, regardless of what people want to say off the heels of what occurred this past weekend or 2 of the last 3 weeks. Charlie Ragle has been, a huge voice for the Sun Devils in the locker room, in this program. And like you said, and like the majority of the folks are saying on social media and in the chat, you obviously wish him nothing the best. Hopefully a very speedy recovery with whatever he's dealing with. And then the conversation potentially to be had between Ragle and Dilly about him potentially returning as a coordinator or maybe an analyst or something of that sort. But I think now that we've gotten that specific part out of the way, we do have to discuss the impact now on special teams. Because regardless of Arizona State's special teams unit being one of the worst in the country, with just 4 games left in the season, to make a major coordinator change at this point in the season is definitely going to have an impact on ASU special teams unit. I think it's kind of TBD to see where it goes from here. Jack Nudo is an experienced coordinator. I think when they brought him in over the offseason, to me, it felt like Nudo was always kind of trending to be the guy to eventually take over for Ragle when Ragle decided he didn't want to coach special teams anymore. Now he's kind of been thrust into that role, maybe earlier than most expected, maybe earlier than he expected, especially with Ragle, taking that immediate leave of absence. But early thoughts on Jack Nudo taking over for Arizona State's special teams unit.
Looks like it's just the theme of Arizona State season is people get put in positions they didn't expect to be put into earlier than anybody anticipated. This is something to where I think a lot of people are just automatically assuming that special teams is going to magically be fixed tomorrow, right? A lot of people are like, oh, and again, this was part of Ralph's argument that he made when we've had him on and talked about this a couple of times, is point at somebody who makes it better. Point at somebody who improves on some of these things. And maybe Jack Nudo is that guy. Possibly. And I hope that he is. But there's no guarantee that Arizona State special teams gets better or stays the same this Saturday. Yeah. Some of these mistakes that were made, Totri, like Charlie Ragle's not telling them to hold on every single kick return.
Yeah.
Right? Some of these mistakes that are lingering are not just going to magically be fixed in a week. That being said, I don't have a lack of confidence in Jack Nudo, and I do feel a little intrigue when it comes to, okay, what is this unit going to look like? But to me, it's very much a wait and see thing. And anybody who wants to break down special teams assistant coaches and tell me that they know what's going on, please come be the third chair on this podcast, because I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, again, there's not too much to realistically discuss when it comes to the ins and outs of it. This is, I think, maybe an opportunity for a breath of fresh air for Arizona State special teams unit. Obviously, it's been, I imagine, not just stressful on the coaches, but stressful on the players too. Right? They don't want to be and play like one of the worst special teams units in the country. Right? So like maybe with a new coach in there, it gives them an opportunity to feel like they're starting fresh, and they're going to need to bounce back in a big way because Iowa State, yes, they're an injured team as well, but you're going to be on the road in what is now must-win territory. You have to win these next 4 games if you still want to even have a slim chance, which is already a slim chance, of going to the Big 12 championship at the end of the season. I know some people are checked out of it. Regardless, I think it's worth noting there is still a chance, regardless of kind of what happens down the stretch. But first things first, you have to win. Arizona State special teams is not the only unit that needs to get its act right, Erik, because we saw it against Houston. Connor Wegman put together one of if not his best performance that he's had as a college football quarterback. Arizona State's defense really didn't have any answers for the +1 quarterback draw, especially when he took his time, delayed it for a second, and then offensively, we didn't really get any clarity from Kenny Dillingham on the injury front as it relates to Sam Leavitt and Jordyn Tyson, maybe some of those other Arizona State Sun Devils that we saw either go down against Houston this past weekend, or maybe have been dealing with injuries over the last couple of weeks. Dilly said we should get a little bit more clarity on Wednesday when he speaks to the media. But first practice is Tuesday. Be out there. We'll see what we see. Of course, we can't comment on injuries that Dilly doesn't specifically comment on out there. But again, just based off the fact that we know Tyson didn't play last week and that Sam ultimately got pulled at the end because of a separate injury, that things don't look up right now in terms of preparing for this Iowa State team, at least in terms of having the best quarterback wide receiver duo in college football out there.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, just my gut feeling is I am mentally preparing myself the rest of this week. This is no insider information. This is no like, hey, Erik is wink, wink reporting anything. As a fan of this team, I am mentally preparing myself to not see Sam Leavitt and Jordyn Tyson, at least both of them out there on Saturday. I would like to be pleasantly surprised. I'd very much like that. I would love for my gut feeling and for my preparedness to go down the drain and they both play. Obviously, this team still understands what's ahead of them. Like you said, there's a lot that needs to be fixed. Quite frankly, your defense plays like it did against Houston, against a Rocco Becht and Hansen-led offense. Like, you're not winning that game, even if Sam Leavitt plays. I mean, Sam Leavitt played a majority of the game against Houston, right? Like, yeah, sure, he was out a little bit at the beginning, came back. Guess what? Arizona State still was down, still put up 0 through 3 quarters, right? It's not just about those two overall, even though they are the two biggest pieces to the puzzle. And this is an Iowa State team that is going to be out for revenge, very clearly. An Iowa State team that just lost in embarrassing fashion to BYU. They were in a good position to win that game. And
yeah, they were.
staunchly put themselves back into contention for a Big 12 championship. So I expect both teams that are both going through injuries to see the importance of this weekend. And quite frankly, yeah, Big 12 championship this, Big 12 championship that. Brother, if they lose this weekend, they're one game away from being 500, right? Yeah. I don't care what your championship hopes and aspirations were. You've got to feel that pressure. You've got to feel that urgency. I'm really excited to hear back from you about the level of urgency that you feel like they've been practicing with this week as we go through it, because after that Utah game, there was this sense of like, oh crap, we got to get it together. I'm curious what the vibe is going to be like this week.
I am too. And here's the reality of the situation in sports, right? You can have all the want to, you can have all the energy in the world. But at the end of the day, if your best players aren't playing, then best of luck, right? Like yeah. We've seen it all year long, even with Sam out there, even with JT out there. That this team has struggled offensively to figure it out, to get into a rhythm. I'd love to have the opportunity to see it maybe at least one more time, where you get a somewhat healthy Leavitt with Tyson out there and Malik and some of these other wide receivers. Because as of the last 3 weeks, Sam Leavitt has done a really solid job, I think, getting other players involved in the offense outside of Jordyn Tyson, right? Your guy, Malik McClain, coming off of the best game of his college football career to this point, going over the century mark, well over it against Houston. Jalen Moss had a couple plays. We know Jaron Hamilton had a nice day against Texas Tech. So what can this offense be with all of those guys plus Jordyn Tyson, right? That's the question. Yeah. I think that's the question that Arizona State's fan base has been asking all season long, is what can they look like when everything is moving as one, when the offense is playing the way that everybody expected it to. We'll again see what practice looks like on Tuesday. If Sam is out there, if JT is out there, if they're practicing, are they limited? And what does that look like? We'll, of course, have that for you guys on Tuesday and on Wednesday. I've already seen some people bring up the Dilly stuff, what he had to say on Monday about the coaching openings. We'll get into that. We'll get into some actual ASU basketball talk at the tail end of today's show. Yeah, that's here. And some other stuff, but we are going to take our first break. Look, before today's show even started, one of the interns came in here. He threw a Rally House bag at me. He said, "Hey, can you go through this for me?" I was amazed at the different ASU merch that was in this Rally House bag. And Rubus, you're going to want to get your tail to the office, because I think some of that stuff belongs to you. If you guys haven't been to Rally House, specifically that Tempe Marketplace location, I mean, my goodness, you need to go check it out. They have an entire half of the store dedicated to just Arizona State merch. Rubus can attest to it. They got hats, they got overalls, they got jerseys, they got pants, they got little knickknacks. They got everything that you could possibly imagine when it comes to the Arizona State Sun Devils. Plus, the weather is getting a little nicer. Hoodie season. Maybe go get yourself a brand spanking new Arizona State hoodie. Rally House, guys. Make sure you find your local Rally House location and shop their entire product assortment online at rallyhouse.com today.
I know we like to have a lot of fun with our ad reads, but I'm going to be honest with you. It's time to get serious. And it's serious if you get in an accident or suffer an injury. And the lawyer that you hire, it does matter. And that's why you need to check in with Mark and Alexis Breyer, the husband and wife law team. Not only are they just like us, where they're so hyper focused on local, Phoenix is their home, they raise their 8 children, and where their focus is always at, but it's so much more than that. And you might ask yourself, well, what makes them different? I'm glad you asked. They're a certified specialist by the State Bar of Arizona. In Arizona, the State Bar has certified less than 1% of all lawyers as specialists in injury and wrongful death litigation. They actually go to trial. They're not just talking heads. And you have access to an attorney at all times. Never play phone tag trying to speak with your attorney. Call somebody and they're going to answer. Listen, you can speak with them whenever you choose, and you will receive at least as much in your pocket as they receive for their fee. If you had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website at husbandandwifelawteam.com.
And Rubus, you got something going on later this evening.
Yeah. Come
the
watch
Suns
basketball
back in
with
action.
me. Please come watch basketball with me. Please, pretty please, please. I'm so fun to watch a game with. Just ask Shane. The Suns take on the Jazz on the road. We'll be on the road doing our pre- and post-game shows from Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. Tonight, pregame starts at 5:30, tip-off at 6. If you want to hang out, you can come before pregame. We'll be there, or just show up at tip-off, watch the game with us, and we'll chat it up with you and watch the Suns beat. That's right. They're going to beat the Utah Jazz. It's free. RSVP for it at gophnx.com/events. Would love to see a lot of our ASU faithful out there at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. If you're nearby, you got nothing to do tonight, well, guess what? Now you do. Come watch basketball with Rubus.
Also, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe
Yes.
button. Drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Wes Beasy in the chat saying, Jeff and Malik both did what they could. Our defense was horrible when we needed them. Number 9 had his way, and that quarterback run was there whenever he wanted it. They were just spamming it, Wes Beasy. Just spamming that play over and 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 over again. And then over and over and over again. It was brutal to watch. It was painful. I wanted to go out there and try and stop it myself at a certain point. I was so fed up watching it just be successful as often as it was. So that was certainly tough. But this is such familiar territory for Arizona State here in 2025. And that is being down early and having to claw and scratch your way back. When I was revisiting my thoughts on the game and what we both had to say about ASU's 8-point loss to Houston, I remember getting fired up about the identity of this team, or lack thereof of an identity of this Arizona State team through 8 games of the college football season. And part of me is like, I just don't get it. I don't understand why we're, when this team is healthy, it's just Sam and JT with the occasional sprinkle of Raleek over there, and the defense will come through. But still, there's not really an identity to it, right? It's just a couple players on offense being special. That's it. There's not like we are going to run through you with the play action pass at a certain point. We're going to try and work the middle of the field here. We're going to take shots. Like there's just not an identity to this team. And I think I answered that answer was on social media for me. Someone had tweeted that ASU has been down this season 17-0 3 separate times. And then they've been down 21-3 at one point this season. You can't have an identity when you blink and you're down 3 scores. You can't.
That is your identity.
You can't really have. Well, it's a crappy identity to have.
It is
the identity that you are just immediately down points at the start of the game. It makes it incredibly difficult to run the football with whoever you're running the football with. Raleek, obviously, only 13 touches against Houston. We both felt like that's not enough, especially considering that Jordyn Tyson's out. We know Kyson Brown still remains out. Not expected to get him back until at least after the bye week, which is still, you've got this week against Iowa State. Then next week is the bye week. Man's in there, but I think you could tell that some of these younger backs are exactly that. They're still younger backs. And then Kanye Udo is just, he's on the roster. That's pretty much what it is. He had a very interesting tweet. I believe it was just an emoji that he had tweeted after the game. I know Grayson Rigdon, a true freshman, had tweeted a photo of himself saying, just give me a chance, that type of stuff. So not ideally what you'd like to see. Huh?
Can I say something about that?
You could say so. About which one?
Both.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Who are you helping?
Yeah.
Look, I get it. Listen, if I was Kanye Udo, I'd be frustrated, right? I totally understand that. Who are you helping?
Do we think, and I haven't seen it, I wonder if the tweet's still up.
It was up for a while. I don't know if it still is. You can check why I rant a little bit. Look, I understand, man. Is it gone?
Nope, still there.
Still up? Look, man, I understand. You rushed for 1,000 yards last year. You transferred in here. You thought you were going to be a big part of the offense. All of us did. We've talked to him. He's a good dude. He's not a bad person, right? Is Marcus Arroyo and Kenny Dillingham going to look at your Twitter account and think, oh, let's give him more touches because he tweeted an emoji? I don't know, man. I get it that you're upset and you're frustrated. I wouldn't be shocked if he enters the transfer portal. I think that would actually be shocked if he didn't.
Yeah, I'd be absolutely shocked if he didn't.
But if I'm a coach, am I going to want the guy that's going to tweet emojis if he doesn't get touches?
Yeah.
Look, man, I still like Kanye Udo. I still think that he has a place on this team, and I would like for him to be utilized a little bit more. But who are you helping? The same thing with Grayson, man. I get it, but posting cryptic things on social media is what NFL wide receivers do. It's not what backup college running backs should do. It's not going to help you, So that, to me, I saw that and I was pretty disappointed. And I don't get what your end game is. And if your end game is you want to make a statement and that's it, then that's probably why you're not playing. So it's not a win-win situation for anybody. It's actually lose-lose. Like, I didn't get that. I never support stuff like that. I completely understand the human and emotion side of it, but if we all tweeted cryptically every time that our emotions and feelings were hurt or we felt we could do something, like, there would be no other posts on Twitter. It would just all be that.
I'm a big believer in just keep it in the drafts. If you
100%.
feel the need to type it out, then type it out, man. Just leave it there. You don't need it.
He just pressed one button. It was an emoji.
Yeah, I had 2 buttons. He press the emoji, then tweet,
and then tweet.
So
just talk to somebody.
But again, we understand the frustration, right? Like, it's got to be an incredibly frustrating thing. But like, everybody on this team is frustrated, right? Like, nobody is happy with the current situation that this team finds itself in. I get it. You're 5-3. It could always be worse. But that's not where you want to be. That's not where you want to be 8 games into the season saying it could always be worse, right? That's not the sentiment that this program is striving for. We obviously got most of our frustrations out over the weekend on this outcome. But similar to the team, you do have to kind of flush it because there still is a slight chance mathematically, like Wes Beasy said, that you can make the Big 12 championship game. But again, if you play the way you did against Houston, there's no point in mathematics. You might as well just remove yourself from contention. I do, for everybody that does keep up with the Big 12, I want you guys to take a look here as to what the Big 12 standings currently look like at this point, with just about 4 games left in the college football regular season. Erik, I can't believe we've already gotten to this point where there are just 4 games left in the college football season.
Your picture's on the top of an Athletic article today.
Yeah, that was something. But the teams at the top of the Big 12 at this point look like this. So you still got BYU and Cincinnati undefeated in conference play. They remain the 2 top teams in this conference. If the season were to end today, those would be the 2 teams that you would see in the Big 12 championship game. Texas Tech follows them at number 3 with Houston at 4 and Utah at 5. And then sitting at number 6, those are your Arizona State Sun Devils, followed by Kansas State and TCU. Erik, there is still a mathematical possibility, but you do need a lot to happen to eventually find yourself in the thick of this race any longer, especially considering 2 of the teams ahead of you that aren't even the top 2 teams now both have head-to-head tiebreakers over Arizona State.
Can I just be completely honest with you?
Yeah, man.
Right now, I don't care about the Big 12 championship.
And that's totally fair.
And that's disappointing, but I put that to the side. I don't care. What I care about is this team playing football that I can get behind. And then if whatever happens, hell, at this point last season, none of us thought about Big 12 championship either. But the feeling was very, very different. This team needs to earn the right for me to even think about Dallas.
For sure.
Right now, listen, 3 months ago, I was like, okay, sometime in December, I'm taking a flight and I'm going to the Big 12 championship game. I'm not planning on doing that anymore. I'm not mentally planning that out because
you don't want to watch
there's a
Cincinnati
chance.
and BYU.
I mean, I would. That'd be pretty fire.
I don't think BYU is going to make it, man.
I don't either. But look, that doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter anymore. What matters is this weekend. What matters is you can end this season close to 500, or you can end this season if you win against Iowa State, despite maybe some of the injuries that you'll be having to deal with. You get a bye week, and then you have maybe your 3 easiest opponents all year, excluding non-con. Screw that. Your 3 easiest opponents all year, excluding non-con. There's a chance that you can end this season with 3 losses.
Yeah, 9-3.
Would I have said that at the beginning of the year, that's what I predicted and expected? No. At this point right now, October 27th, Erik Ruby would be thrilled with 9-3. And I can acknowledge that maybe that's not where I want to be, and that overall, you and I got into this a lot, and we don't need to revisit it about expectations and disappointments and whatnot. I've made it very clear how I stand and where I stand on that. But as of right now, I'd be shocked if they go 9-3. Shocked.
Yeah.
So
you got to play better. You got to coach better.
You got to
be better.
give me a better feeling. I cannot go through 8 months of the offseason feeling like I felt the last 2 days. It's unacceptable. I can't do that. And fans shouldn't have to do that. Like, that's just not how this should be. So this weekend's a big opportunity, and then the bye week, and then the last 3 weeks. Look, I think the worst that this team should end up is 8-4. That to me is the absolute floor, looking at the remaining of the schedule and considering the problems that they have. That being said, everything is on the table, which is unfortunate, but true.
I think a big part, we're going to learn a lot this week. I said it on Saturday. You obviously got to look out for the health of your players. Long term, these guys got to look out for themselves long term as well. These guys are competitors, and I'm specifically referring to Sam and JT here. Because as it stands right now, they obviously, I would say, have the most on the line in terms of NFL stuff. And I don't think at this point Sam is going to enter the draft, but that's just me. If you lose this week against Iowa State, regardless of Sam or JT being out there, I wouldn't be shocked if you shut him down for the year. Genuinely. Not based off of like who you have remaining, but based off two things. JT is a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. If there's no Big 12 championship to play for, is he going to play? Realistically, what happens? Like, obviously, you don't want to get hurt. But, like, that happens all the time, right? Like, I would not be shocked if ASU, if they lost this game against Iowa State, JT and Sam Leavitt do not play the remainder of this season. Sam is dealing with a number. He's dealing with at least 2 injuries, right? So we don't know what his status is going to look like. He's still got an opportunity to come back next year, which I think at this point he needs to. He needs to come back for another year of college football. I think it would be very beneficial to him, which I know we'll discuss maybe in other content throughout the week on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel, so make sure you're subscribed. But wouldn't it be more beneficial if you do lose this game and all hopes of a Big 12 championship are gone to say, you know what? JT's going to make his own decision. I fully believe that. And then Sam, like, go get healthy. Go get 100% healthy. Do what you got to do. We know you haven't been healthy for at least half the season. Go get healthy, and it's time to focus on 2026. Again, if you lose this week's game against Iowa State, I feel like that's personally a conversation that is worth having. But again, I know these guys are competitors. Like, if it was up to Sam, he wouldn't have gone to the locker room the first time he got hurt.
It's such a catch-22. It's such a catch-22, right? You want your guys out there to, even if you lose this weekend, you still want to end the season strong. You want to make a good bowl game. You want to win that bowl game. You end up going 9-4 if you win the bowl game, right? Like, that's important to these guys. I get that Jordyn Tyson has a lot to worry about and look at for his future, and certainly he is the only name on this team that has such high, post-college, I guess, aspirations, at least currently, as in being a top 10, top 5 pick. But he's also somebody who had to sit on the sidelines at the end of last year, and I think that would also really hurt his psyche. Plus, for the counting stats, it'd be pretty nice for him to play against West Virginia and Colorado and U of A. But to me, it's a wait and see thing. I'm more worried about Sam injury wise. Everything from Tyson, it's like, okay, that's certainly something to worry about, but it's not like, hey, this might impact you a year from now. I do feel like if Sam really keeps on continuing to push things with this O-line and with how he plays, which is balls to the wall 100% of the time, like, he's going to end up getting worse. So I'm more in the camp of let's shut Sam down if things don't start going your way than Tyson, but I'd understand it from both perspectives if that ended up being the case.
Yeah. Look, guys, again, I know there's some questions and comments about what Dilly said earlier about the coaching stuff. I promise we are going to get into that right after this second break. Look, I love my branded Bills hats
because I just got a ton of them. Right now, I'm rocking it backwards, but I'm wearing the PHNX hat because, look, I like repping the PHNX brand and branded bills. It's like the perfect combination for me. Just as perfect as the ASU hats that I also own, and you can get Suns hats as well at the stadium. The thing is, it's not just about what's on the hat, it's what the hat is made of, and that is just wonderful, high-quality, breathable material that doesn't decay, it doesn't fray, it looks just as good as it did the first day, bars, that I wore it. It hasn't changed at all. And if you want a snapback trucker fitted beanie or tee, check out Branded Bills and get your own custom one, or of course, check out their partnerships with 40 universities across the country, of course, at the top with Arizona State University. Head to brandedbills.com, use code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order.
Look, this weekend potentially was one of the worst in recent memory for Arizona State fans. I wouldn't blame you if you guys needed to just call out of work the rest of the week and go have a nice staycation over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Honestly, I think that would probably fix you right up. Hanging out by the pool, getting a steak dinner, winning some money on the gaming floor, and then, like Rubus said earlier, maybe hanging out with him and the PHNX Suns crew for another PHNX event over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, specifically at Wild Horse Pass. I know we have a ton of PHNX events over at that location because it is an absolute blast to be there. Again, if you have never been, highly recommend you go check out one of those PHNX events. But maybe, like I said, you want to just enjoy yourself, have a good weekend, have a good evening over at Wild Horse Pass or Lone Butte or Vequiva or Santan Mountain to experience the best that the Valley has to offer. Regardless, one thing you always got to remember when we're talking about Gila is you do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. Okay. It's been everywhere. And it's the LSU head coaching vacancy, and then the Penn State head coaching vacancy, and then the Florida head coaching vacancy. I can't think of a time in college football where there have been more prominent jobs open than right now. We're talking about three of the most top shelf jobs that are potentially available in college football. Even if you were to open every job, Penn State, Florida, and LSU are definitely the cream of the crop. So Kenny Dillingham was, of course, asked about those head coaching vacancies, if he's given any thought to it, and just how he feels about his name being thrown in the hat for other head coaching jobs.
Your picture's on the top of an Athletic article today speculating of LSU and Penn State. So have you told your agent, don't listen to anybody, don't answer? Do you listen? Where's your role in future openings?
I'm trying to win as many games as I can here. That is my number one focus, is our players, our football team, everything about us. That's simple. Like, I am so singularly focused on us to win football games, to become a better football team, this season. Like, that's my singular focus.
Look, I get that a lot of people are going to take that answer and run with it in a way that a lot of people usually do when it's not an outright no. But I'm not worried about it at all.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. But it's still, in terms of like comments, I feel like you probably could have done a better job of like just comforting the fan base, but I get it. Like, in reality, I think this is more so like leverage at the end of the day, right? And I know he just got an extension at the tail end of last year before that CFP game. But this 100% feels like, I'm going to just do I'm just going to do my absolute best to say that I'm focused on ASU, and I know he is, but while also leaving room for the agent to negotiate at the end of the day. Do I think he leaves? No. I think like if he were to leave, then he goes from one of the most loved individuals in Arizona State history to a villain at the drop of a hat. Like that's the reality of it, right? If he were to do that, if he were to go to LSU, if he were to go to Penn State, If he were to go to Florida, like that would be the effect of the situation. But at the end of the day, I'm taking what Dilly had to say when he first got here at face value, right? He wants to be here. He's from here. This is where he's always wanted to be, and he's here now. So for him to leave 3 years in, with one of those seasons being a Big 12 championship win and going to the CFP, I get why people want him. People are going to always want the best coaches you have. That means you're doing good. So I'm not worried about it. But again, the comments, I understand why people in the ASU community aren't thrilled about it.
I get it. That answer did not change anything for me, and I'm personally not worried about it. I want to ask, we got a player's dad in the chat. We got Wes Beasy in the chat.
Yeah.
Coach, if Kenny Dillingham sat in front of your kid and said the same thing that he said when he was recruiting him, but he had jumped schools after saying the same thing 3 years earlier, would you have felt as strongly about your kid playing for him? Because I remember you being in here and being like, I told Champ, that's a guy that's going to fight for you. That's a guy who's going to be there for you. Would you feel the same way? Now, what Kenny would gain in money and what Kenny would gain in infrastructure, he would honestly lose in integrity. Like, and I get it. It's a fickle business. There's no loyalty. Coaches get fired all the time, right? And I think it's an unfair position, I guess, for Kenny to be in, but it's one that he put himself in. The way that he's spoke about this place and about wanting to be here, and the way that he's preached about wanting to be here. If basically at the first opportunity he got, he left for a bigger and better job, from a human standpoint, from a financial standpoint, I get it. You got to do what's best for your career. But you have said things that will come back and bite you in the ass if you go and you do that. And I think he knows that. And we also have Banshidi in the chat who says, did you see the postgame against Texas Tech? Obviously a postgame against Utah last year. It's not like this is a stepping stone for him. It feels like this is the whole stone. Yeah. And so I feel like people are going to, because of the record, because of the notoriety.
The record's not bad.
No, but here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying is because of the fact of how the fan base feels right now, which whether you agree or not, Totri, with the overall like sentiment, there's disappointment. There's this kind of nasty feeling inside. And with, of course, the amount of money and notoriety that these jobs bring, I think I understand why people are probably going to be quicker to assume the worst from that answer than they would have a year ago. I just personally, I don't put any stock in it because that's how Kenny answers questions. Yeah. I'm trying to win the most football games right now. And that's what he's been saying. Could he have said no? Sure. But also from a business perspective, Kenny Dillingham's one of the best up-and-coming coaches in college football. Maybe he might want a little bit of leverage to get paid more to stay here. Maybe his agent said, don't say anything
1,000%, man.
Right? And that's not Kenny. That might be his agent. It's all speculation, but like to me, this did not change anything or move me at all in a negative way. It just didn't.
Yeah. Deli Man, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, you would love for a coach to go outright say, I'm not going anywhere. This is always where I've wanted to be, because that's what everybody thinks. But there are two things. One, like, nothing's ever going to be perfect all the time. Like, you can't be blinded by your love for your alma mater, your love for the state you live in, if there are other options that are better for you and your family.
Life-changing opportunities in terms of money.
Exactly. That being said, it would also be stupid for him to go out and just say that, because look, you're ruining your chances down the line. Life's unfair. Stuff's gonna happen. Like if this team falls and has horrible luck the next 3 years, like knock on wood, you never know what the headlines are gonna say. This team is 5-3, and the headlines are already ridiculous.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he has a disappointing season next year to start it? Like, people are going to be calling for his job.
You already have people calling for his job.
You can't go out there and just say that because it's a dumb move for you.
Yeah. So I mean, think about what you would do, right? Like McKay in the chat. Imagine going to your boss and saying, quote, I love being here so much. I will never leave no matter what happens. I'm never leaving. Right? Like, you can want to be somewhere, but like from a business perspective, that would be you doing bad business to immediately just Be like, you know what? I'm not interested in going anywhere else ever. I want to be here forever. I'm totally content at all times, especially when in reality, all three of those jobs are far more attractive options than Arizona State.
Yeah.
The reason Dylan wants to be here is because he's from here. Went to school here.
True.
Right? Like LSU, Florida, Penn State, those are like career-changing jobs, life-altering positions. Like Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to go to LSU, right? James Franklin got canned at Penn State after losing, 2-3 games in a row? After being there for, 12 years, over a decade? Like, those are crazy, crazy jobs in college football. So, like, yeah, you'd be an idiot not to at least leave a pathway for yourself at the end of the day to negotiate for more money where you actually want to be.
Yeah. Look, that's business. And Wes Beasy followed up on what I said and said, I asked him in his office, is this a place you want to be forever like Joe Paterno, which obviously that didn't turn out too great at the end, said he gave me an emphatic yes. I believe in this man and trust him with my son's life. Look, in an age of college football where we've constantly see kids screwed over, coaches leaving. I mean, think about the Brian Kelly story when he took the job at LSU. He was at a recruit's house, ate all their barbecue, and then left and went to another school literally that day while he was there.
Eric, I think you're thinking of Rick Pitino.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Paterno was at Penn State for his literal entire life.
No, No, I was. My bad. I mean,
but still, Kelly was, when he left Notre Dame, he was in the middle of the season. That was a team that still could go to the college football playoff. And at the time, it was a 14 playoff. But, like, that team was solid and left after they just whooped Stanford's ass. And then 2 days later, he's all of a sudden taking the job in Baton Rouge. Like, he left a major job. He left a job where there was a ton of money and looked myself and everybody else in the room in the face and said, I'm not interested. I want to be here. Take a fairy godmother. Well, sometimes you find fairy godmothers, I guess, man. Like, you never know. It's crazy what a blank check will do to you. Absolutely crazy. And, I mean, you can't blame him. Look what that initial buyout is before it was, it's still apparently being negotiated down to, I want to say, $20 million range. But, like, that initial buyout was like $54 million. That's ridiculous amounts of money, man.
It is.
I don't care where you went to school or where you were born.
Look, and it is. I still 10 toes down. I believe Kenny is here for the long term and for the future. And I think that's why we gotta make this our special segment here to kind of wrap it up. Our future is bright, presented by Shady Raids. We're putting on our rose or maroon colored glasses to explain to the people why the future is bright for Kenny Dillingham and Arizona State University. Brought to you by Shady Raids. Head to shadyraids.com. Use code PHNX at checkout for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Look, all of the other stuff is true about how big and good these jobs are. But the moment that Kenny takes another job, especially if it's this soon, he cannot sit and relate to these kids in the way that he has been doing already. Because what he's been doing at Arizona State is not a D3 school that nobody knows about, man. Like, this has been very public. Arizona State was in the college football playoffs last year, had some of the biggest names in college football over the last couple of years. Kenny's a big-time name right now. This is not like Kurt Signetti at JMU, man. Like, this is a Power 5 school that went to the college football playoffs. If he goes and he changes what he's been saying and what he's been doing, I'm sure he'll be successful wherever he goes, but it won't be in the same way. And I think that matters to him. Yeah,
I'm 100% with you. The future is bright, not just as it relates to this situation, but if you're just an Arizona State fan, like, I get it. I think Dylan in the chat sums it up perfectly for me. Says people that don't want Kenny here are ignorant. Says we're so banged up, got absolutely hosed on multiple calls and lost for the first time at home in 2 years to a 7-1 team. Stop. This is not like everything that this program has been working for and toward the last 3 years is just fallen apart. Like, realistically, the injuries on this team are ridiculous. with Sam, JT, Ben Coleman, Zyrus Fiaseu, Ghost, Boogie, everybody at a major position feels like at one point or another has been dealing with some sort of injury, and it's cost them games. Is that an excuse? No. But this is still the same coaching staff for the most part that took this team from picked finish last to win the Big 12 championship in its first season. As long as Kenny Dillingham and this staff are still here, you got to be feeling good if you are an Arizona State fan through and through. And that is why the future is bright, or at least that's why I think it is bright.
Yeah, and I also want to get some things clear about that Athletic article that was referenced. This was just Bruce Feldman's, people who could fill the job. It was not things he was hearing.
Yeah.
In the article, one of the blurbs about Kenny is, but he is coaching at his alma mater. Whether he'd leave that just as he got things rolling might not be a given, even for a job as big as LSU.
Yeah, 1,000%, man. 1,000%. And again, these other jobs, I think they're going for, not to say Dilly's not a big fish, they're going for whales. They're going for Lane Kiffin. They're going for Marcus Freeman. They're going for the head honchos in college football right now. We'll see. It's going to be a wild offseason, and I am absolutely amped for it. I think it is going to be a ton of fun. So is our discussion at the end of today's show. But before we hit that, we are going to take our final break.
Money. That's what it feels like life can be all about, and certainly finances can rule a lot about how you feel about a lot of things. But if you take care of it and you get out ahead of it, it can become easier and easier, and that's where Monarch Money comes into play. Listen, most people can't name all their financial accounts or what they're worth, 401k, properties, investments, and more, and that can be a problem. You want to be able to know what you're worth, what you're making, what you're paying, and especially if you are in a relationship, that money can come in quickly and it can go out quickly as well. Have a plan, have a solid plan with Monarch Money, a budgeting app that people can actually use. Look, whether you're in a relationship or you're single, you can use the best budgeting app of 2025 as named by the Wall Street Journal, Forbes' best app for couples, and named CNBC's top fintech companies in the world. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code PHNX at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code PHNX.
Look, we've got so many PHNX partners here that are trying to help you save money every single day. Of course, Monarch is helping you organize it, but you need a place to put it. Look no further than Desert Financial Credit Union. Of course, if you are an Arizona sports fan, you want to show that off, and there's no better place to do your banking than Desert Financial Credit Union, because they have got those exclusively branded debit cards with your favorite teams. We're talking the Arizona Cardinals, we're talking Arizona State, even NAU. So every time you make a purchase, you can show up and show out your team spirit. Plus, the Desert Financial team, they are made up of financial experts who can help you with just about anything as it relates to your financial needs. And we know there's a lot of questions that you might have. I know I do when it comes to finances, because there's checkings accounts, savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and so much more. DFCU has got somebody to help you out. Plus, they're trying to give you free money when you open a free checking account online. Get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. Couple of comments in the chat. First and foremost, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Bansheezy in the chat saying Freeman isn't leaving Notre Dame. I don't think Freeman is an ambulance chaser like Brian Kelly. Yeah, I don't see Freeman leaving either. I think the only job Marcus Freeman would leave for is Ohio State. And Ohio State's #1 team in the country. I don't see that job getting open anytime soon. And then Wes Beasy in the chat says programs are built, and we're building the Big 12 as the most competitive conference in America, and teams feed on each other. We have talent, and we'll get more, but we have to be patient. Agreed. I think, like Kenny said today, things are so volatile, right? You can go from being in a castle to being in an outhouse in just 1 week. And my favorite thing about Kenny Dillingham is the fact that he will go up there after, 2 of the last 3 weeks have just been beatdowns. And man will sit up there and quote Talladega Nights, of all things. Quotes Ricky Bobby, says, if you ain't first, you're last, man. Just incredible stuff. And again, just breathe. It's all good. It's all gonna be okay.
No.
This team's been dealing with a lot of injuries, Rubus. Yes, you've been hosed on a couple of different games when it comes to the refs. None of those are excuses, but like it's goes into football, right? You can have great years and then things may not bounce your way the year after that. And Kenny has said it, but like progress and growth isn't necessarily linear, right? When it comes to building a program. And I think we can all agree that Arizona State is in a better spot now than it was when Kenny Dillingham got here. And you got to have faith that it's going to continue to get better, continue to grow in the direction that we all feel like it is trending in. And I think kind of on that same note of taking a program from nothing and getting it back to relevancy, how about Arizona State women's basketball? I know it was just a practice scrimmage. I get that, but going toe-to-toe with USC, I will absolutely take that. This tweet dropped just the other day from On3 as it relates to Molly Miller's team, saying, this is from Talia Goodman of On3, saying Arizona State beat USC 78-76 in a secret scrimmage, sources told On3 Sports. Helosia Carrera and Gabby Elliott had standout performances for Arizona State, while Jazzy Davidson stood out for, for USC. Molly Miller, you've arrived.
I'm excited. Like the overall just vibe around Arizona State women's basketball has completely shifted in the last year. And I am so excited to see them actually play games that I can actually watch and not just read about in a tweet. Are they going to be the best team in the Big 12? Obviously is yet to be seen. It takes a while to turn a program around. But we've had Molly Miller in studio, and it's just a different feeling around Arizona State women's basketball. This is the most excited I've been for a season in a couple of years. So just can't wait, man. Just can't wait.
Absolutely. On maybe a worse note, a much worse note for Bobby Hurley's squad. I wish we could start off with good news. But Travis L. Brown had tweeted this. I believe he covers A&M. And A&M and Arizona State had an exhibition game just the other day. Tweeted, really scary moment here for Arizona State. Guard VJ Wallace was taken off the court on a stretcher after a nasty injury to his leg, attempted a dunk in traffic, and was fouled by Rashawn Aggie. Came down awkwardly and appeared his foot was bent outward at a near 90-degree angle. Really tough scenes, obviously, for VJ Wallace. You never want anyone to go down. You hope it's nothing too major. But by the sounds of that tweet, does not sound promising.
Yeah, man. You feel bad for him. Didn't even get a play in the regular season, right? After taking a big jump and is going to play in the Big 12, and it's a big opportunity for a lot of guys on this Arizona State men's basketball team. But I think for him specifically as a scorer, there's going to be a lot of room for him to do some stuff. And God, that just sucks. It just really sucks.
Sucks. And I feel like we have to mention it. Cam Scattaboo.
Can we do that in overtime so I can say some things?
We can do it in overtime. Of course, the party always continues at gophnx.com if you are watching us on television. What do you got, Rubus?
Fuck. Dude, that sucked. That sucked, man. I mean, obviously any injury is awful, but after what Scat has done in the NFL is just went from being college football's sweetheart to the NFL's sweetheart, was playing well that game.
Playing really well.
He doesn't deserve that, man. He doesn't deserve that. It just sucks.
Yeah, I mean, any dislocation, when you see like limbs go in that direction, 9 times out of 10 that is a dislocation. And so that's what it was for Scat. He had surgery last night. It actually just broke that Big Dom of the Eagles apparently stopped by the hospital last night and brought pizza and Philly cheesesteaks.
Wow.
So love to see that. Yeah, just brutal, man. Absolutely brutal stuff. Just all weekend, if you're an Arizona State fan, when it comes to the injuries, the games, whatever. But what I will say, Rubus, is just like the team, it's Monday. Got to flush it all. The rest and the recovery for those that were injured, you are hoping and praying that it is, goes quick and that these guys return stronger, faster, better than they were before. And then as it relates to the football team, like must-win territory now. You have to go to Ames. Tough place to play. You got to play your best football with or without still some of your best players. And Sam Leavitt, Jordyn, Tyson will learn more this week. But it's a new week, and you got to approach it as such.
Hey, let's end on some positive note. How about Pig Glizzy?
Yeah, 27 points, huh? Pig Johnson, 27 big ones?
The best thing that I saw all weekend was the official Arizona State men's basketball account tagging at Pig Glizzy. Like,
pretty
that's
epic.
so sick, dude.
He oinked
It's
all
so
over
sick.
A&M, man.
I'm all in. I'm all in on Pig Johnson, man. I'm all in on him. Anybody who
You didn't like that one, Deli Man?
I didn't hear what you said. I don't like that.
I said he
I don't
oinked
like
all over
reaction.
it. He oinked all over A&M. That's what I said.
Pig Johnson oinks.
Guys, that's going to do it for today's episode
Yeah,
of the
good
PHNX
call.
Sun Devils Show. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. We appreciate everybody stopping in today to talk and listen about those Arizona State Sun Devils. And, of course, we will be here on Tuesday to give you the latest updates from Arizona State's football practice. Be here, same time, same place. If you enjoyed today's content or you want more news and notes as it relates to the Sun Devils, give the show a follow at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow Sensitive Sally at Erik Ruby. That's Erik with a K. You can follow the Deli Man at Shane Deef.
Remembering that there are ups or there are downs, but there are also ups.
Very, very true. And we will see you guys on Tuesday. In the meantime, go Devils in peace.
We all silly like the mayor.